The rain had started just before sunset, the kind that turned city streets into mirrors of blurred lights and hurried footsteps. Marcus stood outside the convenience store, adjusting the worn sleeve of his gray sweater while holding a small paper bag of groceries. Inside were bread, eggs, and a tiny chocolate bar he had promised his 8-year-old daughter, Lily. Marcus looked like someone life had passed by. His shoes were scuffed, his beard slightly overgrown, and his old sedan parked across the street had a dented door that refused to close properly unless kicked. People passing by rarely noticed him, and when they did, it was usually with polite indifference. That evening, 3 young men leaning against a shiny sports car noticed him very clearly. "Hey, man," one of them laughed loudly, nudging his friend. "Looks like someone's still shopping on survival mode." Another one pointed at Marcus's car. "I think the car is older than my grandfather." They burst into laughter. Marcus heard every word. He paused for a moment, then quietly continued walking. Insults had long ago stopped surprising him. Still, a small ache rose in his chest, not for himself, but for Lily. He hoped she would grow up in a world where kindness mattered more than appearances. As he reached the corner, he noticed a woman struggling near the bus stop. She was probably in her late 50s, dressed in a simple coat, holding a suitcase that looked far too heavy for her. The rain had soaked her hair, and she kept glancing at the empty road with growing worry. Marcus hesitated only a second before walking over. "Ma'am, do you need help?" he asked gently. She looked at him, slightly unsure at first, then nodded. "My taxi never arrived, and I have to get to the Riverside Hotel. I think I misjudged the distance." "It's not far," Marcus said. "I can give you a ride if you don't mind an old car." She smiled, relief softening her tired face. "I would appreciate that very much." Across the street, the same group of young men watched the scene. "Look at that," one of them smirked. "Now he's running a budget taxi service." They laughed again, loud enough for Marcus to hear. He didn't react. Instead, he carried the woman's suitcase to his car and opened the passenger door for her. The inside of the car was clean despite its age. A small pink backpack rested on the back seat, decorated with cartoon butterflies. The woman noticed it. "You have a child?" she asked. "My daughter," Marcus said, starting the engine. "She's waiting at home." "You must be a devoted father." "I try to be." They drove in comfortable silence for a few minutes before she spoke again. "You didn't have to help me, you know. Many people walked past." Marcus shrugged slightly. "Someone once helped me when I needed it. I guess I never forgot." The woman studied his face, as if trying to understand something deeper than his words. When they reached the Riverside Hotel, Marcus stepped out and carried her suitcase to the entrance. The building's bright lights reflected against the wet pavement, making the place look almost golden. "Thank you," she said warmly. "You've shown me kindness on a very difficult day. At least let me pay you for the ride." Marcus shook his head. "No need. Just get inside before you catch a cold." As he turned to leave, she said, "May I at least know your name?" "Marcus." She smiled. "I think we will meet again, Marcus." He nodded politely, assuming it was simply a kind farewell, and drove away. The next morning, Marcus arrived at the headquarters of Hartwell Industries, one of the largest logistics companies in the country. The building's glass towers reflected the early sunlight, employees rushing in through the revolving doors. Marcus stepped out of the same dented car, now dressed in a sharp navy suit, his posture completely transformed. Inside the building, receptionists greeted him immediately. "Good morning, Mr. Hartwell." "Morning," he replied with a small smile. Marcus Hartwell was not just another employee. He was the founder and CEO of the company, known for rarely displaying his wealth publicly. Years ago, after losing his wife and raising Lily alone, he had chosen a simpler lifestyle, believing it helped him stay grounded and understand the struggles of ordinary people. As he entered the executive conference room for a scheduled partnership meeting, he paused. Sitting at the long polished table was the same woman from the night before. She stood up, smiling warmly. "Good morning, Marcus." For a moment, several executives looked confused, unsure how she knew the CEO so casually. "You made it safely," Marcus said, pleasantly surprised. "I did, thanks to you," she replied. "Allow me to introduce myself properly. I'm Margaret Collins, chairwoman of Collins International." The name instantly shifted the mood in the room. Collins International was one of the most powerful investment groups in the region, and the meeting they were about to begin could shape the future of both companies. Margaret continued, "Last night, I wanted to travel without my assistants or drivers. I like to observe people when they don't know who I am. Most walked past me. Marcus didn't." Several executives exchanged embarrassed glances. Margaret smiled gently. "It tells me something important about the leadership of this company." The meeting went exceptionally well. By afternoon, Hartwell Industries had secured a partnership worth hundreds of millions, ensuring expansion that would create thousands of new jobs. That evening, Marcus stopped by the same convenience store to buy Lily her favorite chocolate milk. As he stepped outside, he noticed the same group of young men near their car again. One of them recognized him and smirked. "Hey, taxi guy." Marcus simply smiled politely and walked past them. Moments later, a sleek black company car pulled up beside him, the driver stepping out quickly. "Sir, the board is waiting for you," the driver said respectfully, opening the door. The young men froze, their expressions shifting from amusement to confusion as they noticed the company emblem on the car and the respectful way the driver addressed Marcus. Marcus paused before entering and looked briefly toward them. Not with anger, not with pride, but with calm understanding. "Take care," he said quietly, then stepped into the car. As the vehicle drove away, the laughter behind him had completely disappeared. At home, Lily ran to the door the moment he entered. "Did you bring the chocolate milk?" Marcus laughed, kneeling to hug her. "Of course I did.